What was supposed to be a sleepy transition stage quickly turned into chaos, with UAE surprising Jumbo-Visma from Pamplona to Lekenberry. Marc Soler has fond memories of this region in La Vuelta. He won a stage finishing in Lekenberry back in 2020. It wasn't as difficult today though. 2 repetitions of a 6k 5% very steady climb. Lovely weather conditions, not too hot, not raining. Actually a decent stage for someone like Ghana or Lazcano, but when footage started, or the broadcast started, we saw Remco trying to form a breakaway, which still hadn't formed yet, with Santiago Buitrago, with Kemna, Jumbo, kind of monitoring things behind, before all of a sudden UAE kick it off with, I think this is Joao Almeida. I can't see Ayuso in picture. Marc Soler's following Roglic. All the Jumbo leaders are present and correct. And these climbs are not that difficult. They're very draft heavy, and that group was behind this breakaway before Soler jumps straight after Almeida. Koos looks at Enric Mas and says, well, Vingegaard's ahead of you and Soler on GC. You closed it, Enric Mas. Not my responsibility. And Jonas gets a tow from Soler and Mas. He's able to once bring this back, but UAE, I think, are much better today. Ayuso I couldn't see jumping, but I think this was really good, trying to get a guy in the breakaway like this. Almeida tried again, he stops, and then Soler winds it up. Roglic is right on his wheel and lets the wheel go. Kind of surprising. He, a few hard pedal strokes in the saddle, he'd be in the wheel of Soler. Maybe he got taken by surprise. Vingegaard saw it coming. He was already sprinting before Soler was level with him, and Koos lets the gap open up. Mas is like, not again, not closing this one down. And so Soler and Vingegaard go up the road. Geesink and Volta are dropped, trying to get back after this crazy break formation. And Remco's driving it ahead with Vlasov in that group too. And Vingegaard and Soler make it across. Who's this little yellow jerseyed man? It's Jonas Vingegaard. But yes, he's, I think, 2 minutes ahead of Soler on GC. Should Jumbo-Visma, or would they be happy with this situation? The answer was no. Van Baarle chasing behind with, I think, Seri pacing in the group ahead. Was a strong break ahead. Jumbo had to go full gas. And this is basically protecting Koos and Roglic's GC position, and it's also probably the right thing to do, because if they let the gap go out to 5 minutes, Vingegaard has a mechanical crash or a problem, all of a sudden you've put Soler in a much better GC position. Same with Vlasov, leapfrogging Koos and Roglic. So they went the conservative option. Bad news for Vlasov, seeing those guys getting the break and Jumbo-Visma chasing behind. Perhaps Jumbo could have kept a bit more cool and trusted Oliveira and Movistar to shut it down. I think they would have, but when it is shut down, look at Rui Costa on the right here. Really, really smart. He jumps straight away as the two groups are coming together, trying to get away from the GC riders or GC relevant riders to be joined by stage hunters. And he's joined by Christian Rodriguez and Remco, a great companion to have who'd been jumping. It calms down behind. And so initially a group of 5 forms with Buitrago and Kemna joining those trio. And then on the descent, Janssens, Hamilton, others come across. Dens, Kemna's teammate. The break is gone, and Remco. Could he pull off 2 in a row? Alpecin start chasing or controlling a little bit when it was at 2:30 for Groves, their sprinter, who's really good at getting over climbs like this. But the first climb, they would lose a lot of time with Hamilton attacking already. He always attacks really early. He did it the other day. I think on stage 9 he was in the break. And it's Remco's responsibility to do everything. After his exhibition yesterday, Hamilton attacks, Remco closed it. Santiago Buitrago, who was super strong, attacked multiple times, and he's always going to go quicker than Alpecin chasing behind. It's Remco's responsibility to close it, even though, Leonard Kemna is a killer in breakaways, in stage races. So Remco, even on the second last climb, they do this climb again just before the finish, is getting worked over. And people like Costa are just conserving a little bit, not doing too much, making sure he's following Kemna and Remco. But yeah, Remco had to do so much work. Would he be able to sustain it on climbs which were not as difficult as yesterday? Thomas has another crash. It's not been the best Vuelta for him, but through the finish line they go, under the flags of the Basque Country and Navarra. And I was wondering, I thought Dens might attack a little bit earlier in this valley. He did attack at one point, but Buitrago goes clear. Costa on the wheel. Kämna helping a little bit, but still everybody leaning on Remco to do all the work. A bit of a lack of cohesion up front between Buitrago and Costa. Costa not wanting to pull with Buitrago on the climb at least. And yeah, just Kämna's leaning on Remco. Rubio, I think, did maybe pull a little bit before Kämna attacks across, and Remco wasn't bluffing. They used him up, spat him out the back, and without a teammate, these things happen on a parkour like this when you are the top favourite. It cuts away from Santi and Costa, and suddenly Kämna's there. He bridged across the 25 seconds very, very quickly, even attacks Costa multiple times, and Santi goes over the top two and gets a decent gap on the last rep of Puerto de Zaurate, and Costa's closing him down. But the group behind, they also were mainly, I think, paced by Remco. We didn't see too much of them. The descent is a bit tight and technical, but then I think he was pacing. And yeah, Kämna's, they're all talking to each other. Disagreements, attacks, not the best cohesion, but they were the three strongest, so it didn't really matter. They weren't at a huge risk of being caught before Kämna. See him off his bike. He crashed, missed going into the fence, laid it down, actually crashed really well, not going into the fence and laying it down on his left. But then Costa and Buitrago can't agree on who's going to work. Buitrago's just done all the work on the climb, but you'd think they wouldn't want to let Kämna come back, and it'd be unlikely Kämna would come back. 2.2 Ks to go, and it's like a K of flat to the finish before the sprint, but he does. Kämna returns, not too banged up. No one can agree on who will lead out the sprint before Kämna goes to the front. Costa in the perfect position, lays off the wheel of Kämna and just sprints into that slipstream. Does what he's been doing for years, winning small group sprints, and actually his first Grand Tour victory for 10 years since he last won 2 Tour de France stages in 2013. He's been a great pickup for Intermarché and takes their first Grand Tour stage win of the season. Ahead of Kämna, then Buitrago, Evenepoel strong again today, just unfortunate he got worked over by the group dynamics, then Krohn, Rubio, Rodriguez, Hamilton, Dens, Janssens. Here's what Costa had to say after the stage.
Yeah, this season, the start of the season, in good condition. Okay, now one victory in Vuelta Espana is for me is very, very important, and for the team, I'm so happy.
Oh, I think it was another good stage by him. He was for sure free to go in the break. I was talking to him on the start line, and I said, we can't let you go in the break every day to get back all the time you lost. But no, I think he's still far back enough on time, and like he told me at least, just going for stages. So it's good to see.
GC top 10 unchanged. We have the second and last rest date tomorrow. Jumbo-Visma in the box seat with 3 locking out the podium. Can they keep it that way for week 3? We've got the Lanterne Rouge stage coming and a hard stage on 18. I can't wait for that. Until then, ciao.